everybody. Welcome to Rudy's Celebration of Life. So this isn't a fancy affair. Basically, we're just going to get together and remember things about Rudy. And hopefully, you'll feel better about it. So first, I'm going to ask Mark Berkowitz, a minister from the Church of Scientology, to just do a short little talk.
As Marianne said, my name is Mark Berkowitz. I'm a minister in the Church of Scientology. I've known Marianne and Rudy for many, many years. A little bit closer? Okay, good. They've been very active in our church, and both my wife Sally and I love both of them. It's been amazing. Today, Marianne asked me to share an excerpt from a Sunday service that our founder, L. Ron Hubbard, wrote regarding the phenomena of death. And these are his words, not mine. It's only been in Scientology that the mechanics of death have been thoroughly understood. Hitherto, the whole subject of death has been one of the most mysterious subjects to man. We're actually the first people that do know a great deal about death. It is one of the larger successes of Scientology. In the first place, man is composed of a body, a mind, and what referred to as a thetan, a Scientology word for the spirit, or the individual being himself, who handles and lives in the body. A very effective way to demonstrate this is saying to a person, look at your body. Have you got a body there? And then tell them, get a mental picture of a cat. You will get a picture of a cat. That picture is a mental image picture and is part of the mind. A mental image picture is a mental copy of one's perceptions sometime in the past. The mind is composed of pictures that interassociate, act, and carry perceptions. While the person is looking at this actual picture of a cat, ask him what is looking at it. Nobody ever asked this question before. It's quite an innocent question, but this particular phrasing and a particular demonstration of the parts of man were unknown before Scientology. This procedure gives a person a considerable subjective reality on the idea that he himself is a being that is independent of a mind or a body. There's an actual separateness there. Man thought he had a human spirit. That is totally incorrect. Man is a human spirit, which is enwrapped more or less in a mind, which is in a body. That is Homo sapien. He is a spirit, and his usual residence is in his head. He looks at his mental image pictures, and his body carries him around. So what happens to a man when he dies? Basically, all that happens is that a separation occurs between the thetan and the body. First thing one should learn about death is that it's not anything which to be very frightened. If you're frightened of losing your pocketbook, if you're frightened of losing your memory, if you're frightened of losing your girl or boyfriend, if you're frightened of losing your body, well, that is how frightened you ought to be of dying, because it is all the same order of magnitude. By order of magnitude, we mean how large or small something is in relation to other things. We strike the first observable phenomena in death when we find out that the mind, in spite of mechanisms which seek to decay it and wipe it out, does maintain and preserve mental image pictures of earlier existences. And with proper technology and an understanding of this, one can be again possessed of these mental image pictures of earlier existence in order to understand what was going on. The restoration of memory is therefore of great interest, since all that is really wrong with a person is that things have happened to him which he knows all about, but won't let himself in on. Past lives can easily be invalidated or discredited, because without processing, it is difficult to remember them. An individual's own will has a great deal to do with this. He is more or less convinced that a memory, remembering back past this subject called death, would cause him to re-experience the pain he already feels has been too much for him. Thus, he is very reluctant to face up again to this mechanism. And in facing death, almost always goes into a degree of amnesia. Now, it is all very well to take a scientific attitude towards death, but after all, it does carry with it a little shock and upset. Until you've been dead a few times, you wouldn't understand how upsetting it can be. Ordinarily, when a person dies, he backs out of his body, thinking of his responsibilities, knowing who he is, where he's been, and what he's been doing. If he is in any kind of condition at all, this is what occurs. He backs out at the moment of death with full memory. The exact behavior of death could vary from person to person. A person who had to have tremendously would get just so far away from a body and be liable to say, I don't care, I don't want to live anyway, I was very unhappy during that whole life, and I'm awfully glad I don't care. Somebody else is just as liable to not even think about it. But that person was so little alive when he was alive that his aliveness after he died is also negligible. With the person who is fairly strong and capable, there's an interesting reaction to body death. I'll show them. They can't put me out of the game. It makes him mad and upsets him, and he does a dive halfway across the country, seeks a maternity hospital, and grabs a baby body. Now, exteriorization is a term we use to describe the act of moving out of the body with or without full perception. The exteriorization which occurs at death is very fascinating because a person is totally cognizant of it. He knows who he is. He usually has a pretty good perception. He knows where his friends are. He has suffered a loss of mass. If you had an automobile sitting out in the street and you went out totally expecting to find the automobile there and it was gone, you would be upset. That is just about the frame of mind a Thetan is usually in when he finds his body dead. His main thought is to grasp another body. But the ordinary entrance of a Thetan into a new body is sometime around what we call the assumption. And the assumption occurs within a few minutes after birth in most cases. The baby is born and then a Thetan picks up the baby body. The subject of death is never a very serious one to a Scientologist, beyond the fact that he feels kind of sorry for himself sometimes. For example, he had a friend that was someone of terrific elan, someone who made him real happy to be around, and this person was thoughtless enough to dispose of his body and go out of communication. A person sometimes feels pretty unhappy about it and thinks it was a thoughtless thing for a friend to do. A person doesn't just back out ordinarily and forget all about it. He backs out of it with full identity and hangs around for quite a while. Being is usually there for the funeral, certainly. He will very often hang around his possessions to see if they are not abused, and he can be given upset if his wishes aren't carried out in regards to certain things. Losing your pocketbook, some treasured possession, or your body are all alike. But because of the mechanism of forgetting, a great mystery is made of this. And that is death, phenomena of. Thank you.
Okay, that was kind of serious. But now I'd like to lighten things up if we can. I would like people to come up and tell stories about Rudy, like things that they remember about him, things that were fun about Rudy. I hope we can all feel good about him leaving this body and starting a new life. I'm sure he's going to create a new life that is going to be just as much fun as this one. And I hope it's going to be, I think we'll meet up again with him someday. Maybe we'll meet some little kid ripping off some guitar licks and say, oh, this guy reminds me of Rudy. And it might be Rudy. Who knows? I know we all feel sad that he's not around. But I want to make this like a happy time so that we can remember the good things about him and be happy that he's going to do well in his next journey. So I don't know if anybody wants to come up and say something.
Well, this comes off. All right, my name is Rick, and I am a musician. I'm admitting it. I worked with Rudy and the Maroons for a lot of years, a long time ago. And those of you who worked with him, and I know a lot of us here did work with him, what a genius player. But the thing about Rudy was, he wasn't just a great player, he was a great stylist. Nothing anybody ever played sounded like Rudy. His approach to songs was different. Every song that he played with the Maroons, he put his stamp on. And the funniest thing is that years and years later, when I hear any of those songs, and there are probably 100 or so in our repertoire, I don't hear them the way they were recorded. I hear them the way Rudy played them. And it's the most fun thing. Something comes on over the radio, and it's Jackie DeShannon's song every time you walk in the room. And I'm not hearing that track, I'm hearing Rudy. And the cool thing about that is, as that happens, Rudy is right there in front of me. He's smiling his little Rudy smile, and that incredible sound is just pouring out of his fingers. So, Rudy, wherever you happen to be, thank you.
Well, I'm just going to say, when Rudy heard a song come on the radio that he did a cover of, he would always say, they don't do it right.
Yeah, my name is Rich Wright. Worked numerous times with Rudy with Selective Recall. I did stage lighting for him. Tried to make sure that he was seen and bright and everything with the 1,000-watt powers that we had. He was a miraculous guitar player, great singer. I can't say enough about his musicianship that he had, the ability that he had. Had some great times working, a lot of times down in Indiana, New Year's Eve jobs and everything. So, Rudy, you're going to be missed. You're a marvelous person. We're going to miss you.
Probably a practice session over at Bill's studio. I would say that was probably what
I was going to call in, but I forgot what you said.
I can call you.
I got to take this off, sorry. I can't breathe. My name is Pat Owens. I went to high school with Marion, and I just met Rudy recently. Someone said previously, the Rudy smile, that's what hit me immediately, the Rudy smile. Look at those pictures. I forgot how it was, maybe you can help me, Marion, how we came upon this idea to get Rudy to do this. You see the Pierogi and Gautier photos before you. Rudy, it was the Pierogi Fest. He always played at the Pierogi Fest at the tent. And my friend Dan Shi, who was the ethnic Chinese, we had this idea that he would play Kublai Khan and I would play Marco Polo. And we would fight over who invented the pierogi first, whatever. And Rudy loved the idea, and he played, he's got his famous song, Viva Pierogi, right? Which we're going to play later, I hope. He was, what a character. I mean, he's so talented, and he just said, oh, sure, I'll do it. He jumps on the back of a truck that I rented. We had a generator that didn't work. Somehow he helped us fix the generator. I only really met Rudy about 2 or 3 times in my life, and they were he was the most entertaining person. After this incredible parade, if you've ever been to the Pierogi Fest in Whiting, you know what I'm talking about. If not, go this year at the end of July, the Pierogi Fest in Rudy's memory. But he came to my house one Christmas, my daughter's birthday, and it was just incredible. He brought all of his equipment into the garage, into the house, and was just playing all night long. The humility, of course his talent is unbelievable, but there he was, and all of my cousins who wanted to learn to play guitar and who couldn't sing, like my daughter, but no, she can sing. They were just entranced by him, and he just stayed and played and played and played until the party ended, which was well over after midnight.
Rudy, God bless you, wherever you are. I miss you terribly, as I'm sure Marion does. What a man. Rudy Lobo.
Hi, my name's Mark. I had the pleasure of playing with Rudy for the last 3 or so years. And of course, it goes without saying what a great player he was. Definitely part of the brotherhood of great musicians. There's plenty of great musicians. But Rudy seemed to not have an ego, which is incredible for a musician. I never experienced that in all the time I played. He was willing to try anything. He worked very hard at it. And in my 50 years of playing professionally and playing the guitar, I have never met a musician ever that loved to play more than Rudy Lobo. Okay, you could call him up at 3 in the morning, let's jam, he'd be there. And he played for $5, $105, it didn't matter. He just loved to play. And that, so something. One humorous thing, we would play, my wife and I, we have a band called 51 Lincoln, we would play the Pierogi Fest down there in Indiana. And he did a hilarious thing where he sang My Pierogi instead of My Sharona. Just very talented, as we all know. And I'll say it also, God bless Rudy Lobo. All right.
Hi, my name's Dave Tone. Rudy and I were friends since we were just little kids. His family, his aunt, lived below the apartment we lived in. His kids, we used to all get together and go down to the basement and listen to 45s and, dance and do crazy stuff. Then Rudy, went off to high school and they moved from the city to Schaumburg. And I didn't see a lot of him, but after a while, we got back in touch and we started playing music again. And I played with Rudy in the Cubes. That band's got like 35 years on it, which is a long time to be playing with somebody. And again, Rudy, having been together 35 years with somebody, rehearsing, a few times a week, writing tunes together, there was never once that we had a problem. We always worked things out. But the thing about Rudy that always struck me the most, and always will, if you listen to his music, for a while the Cubes were very popular, and people would come up to us and say, I can play guitar better than that guy. I could be a lead guitar player. And I'd say, no, you couldn't, What they didn't understand is that Rudy wasn't a lead guitar player. He was a multi-instrumentalist with a full Marshall stack. Yeah. You listen to his music and you say, that would be strings, or that's horns, or that's whatever. So he was an amazing player because the way he approached the instrument, he wasn't doodling and ripping off a ton of notes. He played what needed to be played. And as a songwriter, I was always amazed with the things he would come up with. It was just, nobody else would come up with that. So when people would say, we could take over for him. Nah, you couldn't. There was only one Rudy Lobo.
Alrighty. I'm Jeremy. I am Rudy's nephew. That is my lovely aunt, my other lovely aunt. My parents are here. So, us Horvaths are, I guess you could say, a nutty bunch. But the thing about Rudy was he fit right in. Whether it's all of his, crazy, funny puns. You could literally ramble off any sentence and he could think of a pun for it. I always remember when I was like, I don't know, probably this tall, anytime we'd leave, he'd you know, act like a munchkin from Wizard of Oz. So he'd go, bye-bye, bye-bye, all the time. And it would just keep me laughing day in and day out. But as I grew, I became a musician myself. I played drums like my Uncle John. It's, you know, music has been the thing that gets everybody together. Whether it's the happy birthdays that go happy birthday, ooh. But the thing about Uncle Rudy's playing is it's almost, you know, you can tell he's a Mozart of guitar and everything. He's got 7,000 things going on in his head, and he plays it all on his guitar. I'll always remember his cover of The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy. He loved that one so much. But the thing that I'll miss about him is just he loved playing. Every day, every holiday, he'd bring his guitar, and every so often, he'd bring it out and play. Sorry. My mind wanders, as most musicians' minds do. But see, the thing about me is I'm lost without a drum set. Rudy could sing, dance, play, and it was just, you know, amazing to watch and grow up watching. Gotta try and keep it light, Aunt Marion. So, I guess he'll be hanging out at Dino's up until he finds his next little prodigy to find. So, miss you, Uncle Rudy.
Oh, it's gonna be hard. I met Rudy at Bill Kavanaugh's. Bill Kavanaugh did those all-night jams back when he was here, and they were awesome. You know, musicians would come from everywhere, and we'd be there all night. And Rudy never would leave. He wouldn't get up to go to the bathroom. He'd be in the corner the whole time. I'd go leave, talk to the people upstairs, come back down. I didn't even know who he was at the time. Like, who is this guy? You just stay in the corner, smiling the whole time, playing for whoever was playing. And I don't know if Bill Kavanaugh's watching here, but it was, I met so many wonderful souls in that room, so many great musicians and brothers and sisters there, and even, you know, music lovers. And so after a few times of meeting Rudy and checking out Bill's the musicians they play with, we got talking, and I said, are you playing a lot now? And at the time, I guess the Cubes and the other projects were kind of at a lull or whatever. So, because I love playing, I drive my husband nuts how much I love to play, but I never, like he said, I never found anyone that loves to play, and I love to play, and it was like we just had this, it was like the brother from another mother, you know, I just love to play, and you can just, as we all know as musicians, you feel that kinship on stage, and the mental telepathy of it all, you know, and gosh, he always smiled. He was the sweetest man I've ever met in my life. Sweetest soul I ever met in my life. Never complained. Never had a mean streak. Never a negative vibe. I mean, no matter what went on, I would be a wreck. Something weird's going on at the gig, trying to set up, or some bizarre things that happen, as you know, musicians know how that can go. You know, maybe they can't pass because it wasn't a false, whatever. Nothing ever rattled Rudy, and it was just amazing because I needed that. You know, it was awesome to be around that, you know, and I learned so much from him as a person and as a musician, and it is true, all of your comments, he was just magical. He had a way, you know, I would do the same thing, I think what you said, I'd hear a song on the radio, and it's like, no, I hear Rudy's version now, you know, and I said it to my husband a lot of times, it's like, no, this is how Rudy does it, and he just brought so much joy to people just playing. And that My Sharona thing, the My Pierogi thing was hilarious. When we were at the Pierogi Fest, people loved it. You know, he would love doing his little Charlie Brown song at the start of our gigs, you know, when we're getting everything sound check. Just sitting back there and just people loving his music. And I mean, I'm gonna miss him. I haven't really been playing lately. We had some dates we had to film. It was just like I can't. It just feels weird being on stage without Rudy, you know. But we will be at Pierogi Fest, and I'm gonna give that show. We're playing it. Make sure everybody knows about Rudy, and we're gonna put a poster up there for him too. And I'll just say this: my husband and I. He would have been playing with us at this one show. We just did a duo a couple weeks ago, and I never sang that Julio Down by the Schoolyard in my life. That was one of my favorite ones that Rudy did. At the end of the night, I said, any more requests? And someone came and put money in, and they go, how about Julio Down by the Schoolyard? I about had the chills, because I knew it was Rudy. And I'm like, I gotta do this. And as my husband would say, she just forges ahead, doesn't know if she can do it or not, but you know, I'm telling you, it was Rudy that was singing through me, because I never sang that song. It's not even my style to sing for my voice. And I just heard him singing it through me, and I felt it. It was very, very cool. There's another story I wanted to share. Oh, I lost my train of thought. In 1 second. I need to recall. It was awesome seeing these two as a couple. They just melted my heart. Just a wonderful, beautiful love they have and the support of each other. And it was beautiful always. You know, you're always part of my family. I always say that. Whoever plays on stage with me is always part of my heart and family. It's another good story, and I've forgotten one more good story. I'll come back if I remember it. But, you know, we are blessed to have walked with Rudy. I'm so glad to have been on that journey. And when he, you know, was praying for him to make it through, when he was still, you know, on the ventilator. And every day I was hearing songs on my radio station, waking up in the morning, that I never heard, and they were all his songs that he would sing with us. Every one of them. I'm like, I knew it was a God thing, you know, for me. So I knew he was telling us he was okay, and he was, you know, ready to move on. And it was, in a weird way, I felt like he helped me grieve through that few weeks. Just amazing. It was a great spirit. So if I can remember that other story, I'll be back up.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mike Bang, and first thing I'm going to say about Rudy is when I first met him. It was late 1983, early 84. And down in Clearwater, Florida at the Fort Harrison Hotel. And I met him, I don't know how it happened, but met him off the elevator. And, oh, you're from Chicago, wow. And he said, I just had a really great win. And right next to us was this window overlooking the swimming pool at the hotel. And he says, look at this. He said, I used to be afraid of height. And he just leaned out the window and says, hey, everybody, how you doing? And I looked at him and I said, you're not afraid of height anymore, but I am. Get back in here. So that was my first meeting with him, and I could you just kind of develop this, I like this guy. You can do that with people. The second thing I want to say is my wife Marjorie and I were at his wedding with Marion, and the most amazing thing that I remember from that is I don't think Rudy danced once with his wife. Rudy was up on, did he dance once?
No, he didn't even talk to his relatives. I had to talk to everybody.
He had to talk to all the relatives. He wouldn't talk to them. He was on the stage, band after band after band after how many? Four bands. And so he just obviously loved his music, and he'll be sorely missed. Come back soon, Rudy.
that kind of shows how stubborn Rudy was, or let's say patient. We were talking and he said, I don't know, somehow the conversation got to, oh yeah, it's a sugar bear. In reference to a raccoon, I said, a sugar bear is not a raccoon. He said, oh yes it is. So I look it up in the dictionary and I show him. It's like, there's nothing in the dictionary about a sugar bear being a raccoon. I'm thinking he's thinking sugar crisp or something. So, so then that was the end of the conversation. And then 2 years later, I'm looking up a word in the dictionary, and there's a little piece of paper in there that says, sugar bear, a colloquialism for a raccoon. And I'm thinking, so he can wait 2 years to get the punchline for a joke. And I asked him, I said, you waited 2 years to get a punchline for a joke? He said, oh no, I just forgot about it. But that's how Rudy's mind worked. And probably still works. People could call in too. If people on Facebook, if you want to call in, I'll plug you in. Yeah. Put on protection.
Hi, my name is Jim Bartholomew. The other Jim Nelson back there. We played a band called the Maroons, and I can say that I've always said that we play in a band called the Maroons because the band formed about '85 and never quit really. We just haven't had any dates in 20 years. And we went through a couple of guitar players, and Rudy. I don't know how we met Rudy, but Rudy played with us for a while, and he said, I can only, sit in for some dates, a couple things, because he was always busy. He always had lots of bands that he worked with. And all of us knew right away, as soon as we heard Rudy play with us, that we had to have this guy in our band. And eventually we did, and we had a lot of dates for a while, and then that kind of calendar pages turn, and last time I saw Rudy, we had a pizza get-together, because the Maroons, if we don't play, we get together and we eat pizza and talk about how bad the music business is these days. And I think the last time I saw Rudy was right before all the lockdown and all that stuff happened. And we always talked about the next gig. That was the thing. And he was such a joy to play with that we always looked forward to it. The idea that we play together. I played with Rudy in a couple different things besides the Maroons, and he was such a joy to be around and to play with. And we did odd songs. We did versions of old 60s tunes. Like we'd end up throwing a bunch of Bruce Springsteen stuff into the middle of some song that from the 60s and everything. And Rudy was always right there, adding exactly the notes that you needed, whatever it was, if it was a harmony part, because he was a great singer too. And he always taped things too, which was fun because we could go back later on and we'd talk about some date and say, oh, I recorded that. I remember that place out in Wheaton that we played. And it's like, you got recordings now? Yeah. But I'll miss not hearing those, but mostly what I'm going to miss is the fact that we're not a band anymore. I'm going to miss that. The fact that I can't say, yeah, if somebody calls us up, we could play tomorrow. We could get together and have one rehearsal and we could do it again, because that's the kind of musician he was, and that's the kind of band we were in. Now we're not. I'm going to miss him a lot. And I know Jim, yeah, I want to say thank you. It's great. Thank you for having us.
All right, thanks for calling. So regarding the Maroons, Rudy really loved playing with the Maroons. He said, no drama, you know? He said, we'd all get together and just rehearse in the living room. Rick would bring his snare drum, and then everybody had their acoustic stuff, and just go over the beginnings and the endings, boom, done. Left and right.
Hi, I'm Joe. I'm Jeremy's dad over there. And this is my sister Marion. And I don't know, it's just really difficult to think about him, past. But, there's just a couple of things. I mean, like everyone has said, he's just this amazing, amazing person. And just full of puns. My favorite thing to do was when I would call my father, John, I would always say, hey Dad, what's new? And he'd always say, a really big animal. And it was like always the thing when we call, and he's going to say that, what's new? It's the new, G-N-U. And Rudy, like Jeremy said, fit right into that. Everybody, full of puns, funny things, my pierogi, and that's one thing I remember about him. Especially at my brother's house where we gather for either Thanksgiving or Christmas and Easter, whichever holidays, or birthday bash. We got to where we just have a birthday bash for everybody. And I just remember one time after my folks had passed, it's been a year or maybe 2 years, and we went there, and it was just difficult to come to the house sometimes because, you have great memories of people. And he brought his guitar, like they say all the time. And he would always work on ways of doing copy, material. Sometimes, like you're saying, as a band, you'd hear him do it like it's supposed to be. But there were plenty of times when he wanted to make that copy his own. It was like he's making that copy his original. He'd think of ways to make people go, what the heck is this song, And then you go, oh my God, he's playing that, And he would do that at the house a lot. He'd sit and I'll never forget, he comforted me so much in my brother's, house. There's a back porch, and he just sat and played, and I was just listening the whole time because he just constantly, just always working to play as best he could. And one other thing I remember, I play the organ, and at one time I used to be pretty decent, and they almost wanted me to play at our church, and it was like a classical Gregorian mass. I was almost that good, but I had stage fright. And I couldn't play in front of the church. I mean, I can play pretty well, and I can still play a song called Never on Sunday. But I will say there was one time at my brother's house that it was my brother and Rudy and Robert Bobby Bob and Rudy. And we were just jamming, and I don't know whose keyboard that was, but I've never played in a band. I've never been a professional musician, but it was fun to just kind of jam with them because I never really got a chance to do any of that kind of stuff, and it was just fun. He's always, and I can't say that there's ever been any kind of, I don't remember him ever having any kind of bad feelings or vibes from Rudy. Thus I got the thing, I showed Marion here, it says good vibes only, because that's for sure. That's Rudy for sure,
Can you turn it this way so we can see it?
Oh, sure.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, he's a special guy, and I'll miss him. But at the same time, everybody's musicians. They'll all get through this and have good memories of him. He's a great guy. Love you, man.
casual. I could have been here a lot earlier. I can't.
We thought we should have told you it was an hour earlier. We're kidding.
I'm Carol Eddington, good friend of Rudy and Mary. And I'm going to read something from my daughter first. But has anybody talked about Arts Alive?
No.
No. Oh, okay. So a bunch of us friends back in '98, I think, started a group called Arts Alive Chicago. And it was an association for the support and revitalization of all artists. And one of the things we did was one night a month we had an open mic type thing. And Rudy was our musical director, but he made it much more than an open mic because we would have rehearsals at my house every Wednesday. And Rudy would do charts for everybody, you know, give them their own sheet music, write it out for them and help them along. And then we had a little band and we'd back everybody up. And Rudy did so much work on that. We couldn't have had it without Rudy. It would have been a totally different thing without Rudy. So he made it this really, really special thing, and we ended up putting on shows and all kinds of things. So my kids grew up with this, and it was really cool because we'd have the rehearsals at my house, and my daughter still knows all the words to all the songs from many years ago, and this lasted for about 11 years. So my daughter texted me a message that she wanted me to read. And her name is Lane. She's in Nashville. Rudy's story. I have known Rudy at 3 different times in my life. The first one was when I was a little kid. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 or 5. I remember that he was named Mighty Mouse. That was my nickname for him. This will always be how I think of him. He was funny, helpful, very kind. He had a quality, I can't figure out how to put it into words. Years later, I knew him when he was the guitar maestro and all-around go-to guy for Arts Alive night. Anyone could bring Rudy a song, and he would make a guitar rendition of it for you, and then an arrangement. And he would always have a million puns. I groaned at all of them, and I'm not sorry, Rudy. Some of them were groaners. Okay, he had that rare quality of being an artist who wanted to give the stage to other artists and help them to shine. Again, I struggle to find the words to describe what this is like. He was kind of like a wizard, also like a Robin Williams genie in a bottle. Rudy was also a word clearer. I remember that he helped me, helping people to understand words they didn't get. I don't remember when, but I remember he would always give you the idea that it could be sorted out no matter how tangled up you were. The effect that has on someone who has difficulty with learning is like huge. It's really important. The fact that someone has faith in you can save your life. The third time I got to know Rudy was when he worked at my company with my dad. He was in charge of the computer systems. He taught me a lot of cool tricks with Microsoft Word and other programs. He would always say, "Want to see a neat trick?" And then show me something. The last part of this is that when I heard he had passed, first I was really mad. The first thing I said was, "What the F?" really loud. Then I cried. Then I went to write a song about it because that's what I do. Then I started writing this song, and it was kind of a sad song. And I swear to you, suddenly I got this feeling and like his voice in my head going, "No, no, 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 don't give me some sad song, I don't want it." And that's true. He always knew how to make something sad into something happy. He always had the bright side. That gift of cheering people up no No, that gift of cheering people up, allowing others to create, enabling their musical ability, and giving knowledge. I don't know any more valuable things in this world. Thank you, Mighty Mouse, for being my friend. See you in a jam session in the great beyond. The end. And for me, I want to add to that. She said that really well, but he was, he's one of the most caring spirits ever, and so helpful, and a natural teacher. So he was really good with kids and really good at imparting any kind of information. He was a Gemini, which is all about communication and computers and music and stuff like that. So I got to perform with him a lot, and he couldn't have been any more of a stable partner in performing. So reliable. Everybody who ever performed with him knew what a reliable, amazing, sane musician he was. A lot of musicians can be a little insane or a little, unreliable, but he was incredible. And mostly, I love him dearly. He's the most lovable, cuddly, sweet guy. So we will miss Rudy a lot. Love you, Rudy.
Hi. Thank you. I'm Gary. Had the privilege of playing with Rudy the last three and a half years. Time is very relative now. With Mark and Laurie, 51 Lincoln. What a pro. What a pro. And never complained. Never complained. I also had the privilege of playing the last job with him. And so did you. Yeah. We had her on bass. Oh, that's right. He played a couple of tunes with it. So, man, he's going to be sorely missed. And last summer we still played, even though we got a lot of things canceled because of the plague. And but I tell you, the guy was one in a million. He was going to be really missed. We can all tell that.
I'm Joe. I played keys with Laurie, Mark, and Gary for a bit. And I had the privilege to share the stage with Rudy. I didn't know him that long, honestly. But when I did know him, man, he was unbelievable. He was the nicest cat you could ever meet. So down to earth, consummate musician, and furthermore, he was an artist. Like a lot of you have said, he took things and made it his own. And that was what was really cool about Rudy. I had no problem ever going on stage and sharing the stage with him, because I knew, hey, if we had a snafu or something, oh, Rudy'd be right there. There'd be no problem. It was great. He was such a lovable guy, and again, I haven't had the privilege of sharing the stage as much as probably a lot of you have, but for those times I did, made a real impression on me. Really did. He was a great guy.
Hey, I'm Joe again. I'm just going to say that I just remembered a couple of things. That, when Marion and Rudy were married, I think one of the things that I remember is he gave me a cassette tape of the Cubes. And there's all this music on there that's, kind of 80s, this kind of wave, kind of new wave sort of. But at the same time, it had kind of a country feel to it. It just hit a bunch of different genres. And never really got a chance to see them until they played. I can't remember where they had played. They played at Martyrs, and it was just happened to be like a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. And there's not really many people out, and this is way before the pandemic. And I just got to see them for the first time. I brought my son Jeremy and a friend, his lead singer at the time, and it was just amazing to just go from hearing that tape to actually seeing them do what they do. And they've got a CD, they had a CD out that. And I was looking for my t-shirt, I couldn't find it. I was gonna wear the Cubes t-shirt today, but it was just a cool thing that he was involved in. And I know that he's just an amazing guy, and I miss him a lot. It's great to have known him. Love you, Rudy.
Somebody calling in?
Hi, Marion.
Thanks, Scott. Go ahead, you're live.
Oh. People can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I played with Rudy for about 20 years in a couple different bands. And it was absolutely just a pleasure. Every time I played with them, everybody all knew Rudy jokes. Everybody had Rudy jokes. It was a wonderful time. It'll be missed, and I wish I had another time to just play with him again and see him again. But I know we all will see him again. But that's fine. I just wanted to say he was a special man, and I just loved him to death. And I tell you, he was the best guitarist I ever played with. Like I said, I played with him for that long. It's wonderful. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I hopefully will someday. Thank you, Marion. This is a wonderful thing, and I love the fact that I can actually participate in it and I can see it. This is great.
Oh, so she can.
Well, all right, take care. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
All right. This is a story from Rhoda Becker from the Facebook Live. She says, I first met Rudy in 1964 at Conant High School in Schaumburg. One day I was invited to his house and heard him play his guitar. Rudy was only 14 years old, but he was already extremely well at guitar. I told my brother Richard, who also played guitar, I introduced them, and before you knew it, they were in their first rock band called the Britannics, playing at high school dances. They even played at my 16th birthday party in 1969. There was a rock festival called Kickapoo Creek. 4 of us went, but we didn't have enough money to get in. So Rudy and I climbed into the trunk of my 1968 Camaro, very small trunk I might add, got into the outdoor rock festival after driving over a harvested cornfield, very bumpy. Yes, there were drugs. Rudy never did drugs, but he did this time. Uh-oh. That's news to my aunt, everybody. So I remember it took him over a half hour to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I mean, hey, Rudy was my little brother back then. I sang folk and rock music with Rudy and my brother in the 70s. Rudy will always have a special place in my heart. I will miss you greatly. God bless, and bless you until we meet again. This one's from Ray Lester. He's writing from Fairfax County, Virginia. Hello, everybody in Virginia. I played bass for the Maroons for a bit early on, but never had the pleasure of working with Rudy. I did, however, attend the pizza get-togethers with Rudy, Rick Barr, Jim, and Jim that you mentioned earlier. We shared stories and recollections and laughed quite a bit. What I remember very well is the respect and admiration I and the Maroons have for Rudy as a musician and as a person. R.I.P. Rudy, your talent and fellowship are and will be truly missed. I have one from Rudy's cousin Sue. She says, Rudy, my sweet-natured cousin, was just 1 year younger than me. At age 13, I remembered his enthusiasm about his new guitar. I was surprised that his mom, my Aunt Esther, allowed him to play rock and roll. I should have known better. She loved music in any form, and as far as I knew, encouraged Rudy to study and play any form of music. I remember being in Schaumburg at age 15 or 16 and watching Rudy and others play the Yardbird song, For Your Love. It was such a thrill that my cousin Rudy could do that. Talk about vicarious thrills. Gotta love autocorrect. It was such a thrill to know he got to be the professional musician he wanted to be. Love you, Rudy, and I know you're at peace. This one's from Gretchen Xavier Visa. Rest in peace, Rudy Lobo. You were a great guy with a smile that lit up the room and could play a guitar that did the same. It brought Frank and I great sadness to learn your passing, in parentheses, damn COVID. We will cherish the laughs and the fun times we all shared way back in the early days. I'm sure you and Mayor are up there reminiscing those days. My prayers go out to your wife and family.
What are Rudy Lobo favorite? Okay.
Hey, not sure how this works. It's Susan. Fine. Hi. Well, I wanted to just say a few words about my friend Rudy. And just to add to what some of the other people said who met him at Arts Alive, Rudy was really just very influential for me as a songwriter and performer. He wrote charts for me. He was a really stable, fun presence that helped give me confidence, and always a smile. And then I was fortunate to know him also as our IT guy, our IT guy at the company that we worked at, and then beyond that. So I think I kept in touch with Rudy that way. He was the only guy who made, like a help desk call fun. And I will say one more thing, which I know is true for a lot of us, is every time I hear a pun or see a pun, I always think of Rudy and think about Rudy would like that, oh, Rudy would like that. And so I just wanted to say that and how much he'll be missed. And that's it.
Oh, here. Back into the night where you find little cigarettes. The longer I thought I might find her, the shorter my vision became. Running in circles behind her.
Just so everybody knows, there's the
Hi, can everyone hear me? No?
Just talk louder.
Should I just start screaming?
Just talk louder.
Just talk louder.
Yeah.
Yeah, get closer. Oh, can you hear me? Better? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Leanne. I'm Rudy's niece. I'm related to a great many of the crazy people here today. I have a couple of stories I want to tell about my uncle. Everyone has already said, basically everything about how great of a person he was. He's always been so kind and friggin' hilarious. Where should I start? This one's kind of my grandma's story too. My grandma Gladys, my Aunt Marion's mom. We were doing Mad Libs, and one of the things you had to list was a person, and the first person that came to her mind was my Uncle Rudy. So she said, Rudy! And so then, in Mad Libs, there's some weird requests now and then, and one of them was body part, and just without hesitation, she screams, nipples! And then, at one point, the next thing that you had to fill in was an article of clothing. So she chooses socks. And so at the end of the Mad Lib, it ended up being Uncle Rudy needs to buy new socks to cover his nipples. And so I thought that was hilarious, mostly because I've never heard my grandmother say anything that, like, out there before. But also just because I figured that, like, of all people, he'd get a kick out of it. So I told him, and he said, well, yeah, what else am I going to cover my nipples with? So that's one of the stories. Another story is that for Christmas, more recently, in recent years, we did what was called a white elephant gift exchange. So everyone would just pick a gift, and you pick numbers, and eventually you got to go home with a gift. But sometimes it was kind of goofy. Like my boyfriend in the corner over there, he picked a bidet, like a portable bidet to put as a gift. I think my Uncle John went home with that one. But his was really cool. He picked a kazoo game. So you'd play this game, and you had to pick songs. And if you picked up a song, you'd have to play it on a kazoo, which isn't as easy as it sounds, especially if you're playing against my Uncle Rudy. Needless to say, they kicked our butts, he and his partner. Yeah, like Chris could get maybe like 2 notes out, and he'd be like, come on, you know this. And I'm like, I have no idea. But as soon as Uncle Rudy started playing like 3 notes, you just knew what song it was. So, yeah. Anyway, he's gonna be surely missed, and yeah, I'm just grateful for the time we've had together.
died in COVID, which is not a COVID. A COVID. Yeah, but so nothing happened during COVID. I mean, anything happened during COVID. I still haven't done something in my life. And it's the way I but I want it to be I think I'm gonna turn it off.
This is one of the gigs that I played with him at Sean's right down the street.
Really?
Yeah. And this was when he first started doing
Hello, everybody, hello. Yeah, attention, attention. Before everybody starts leaving, I wanted to just have everybody get together and let's wish Rudy a great life.
All right.
Say, good luck, Rudy!
Rudy!
Good luck! Okay, now you can continue.
What's weird is,
Oh, that's better. Actually, this is better.
well, I had to come over and say hi to you. Sorry about your mom.
Thank you so sorry about my mom.
Give my best to Jerry.
You look great. God, it's just seeing everybody. It's like, I'm only seeing their eyes. So what is your name again? Very nice. And I'm
Yeah, we got married in '83. We dated 7.5 years. We moved to Lake Tahoe.
Oh, my favorite. I always meant to move there.
80 and 85, we lived there. We came back and got kids. That's all.
We lived there before we got married.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to show Carol some pictures of our daughter. She had 4 girls. Yeah, yeah. But I don't write my daughter's calling. I'm doing this for free for Dad.
I know people going up, and people say this because no one can find them. I did that for a long time, and then I got bored. Like I said, it was good. I had no idea.
Right, he was so good. This is when he first started doing solo stuff. I don't know, you know what? We use a joint out on Outdoor Road. They're really active.
I heard about like the 70s,
Island right there. It's about it. Yeah, we did all this stuff. We just hired to install a The quartz is one of the more expensive versions. Granite's a little less. Yeah, I mean, there's the next one. This is called a waterfall application. They actually have it down the river. This has
I was like, that's my
Wait a minute. Yeah.
having a
I would have to ask the owner out, yeah, but sure, I'd like to find out. But there's so many what goes on the process is you go and pick out the slab, first get your lineal footage that you need. That's mathematically taken. You pick out your slab, and you get at the place, and if they cut it to fit,
All right, kiddos. I'll start. I won't keep you expecting There's a townhouse, but right now it's a shelter market and oh my God.
That's the youngest, these are the twins, and that's the oldest. These three live together. They talked about probably 5 years ago.
You were just going to have one.
I was a redhead. I started blonde and went red, and then got
So you can turn red
What the trick is, you just wash your hair for 10 seconds. Instantly gets darker.
You must be Irish, right? Yeah. Of course,
Let me go, while this is up, I'm going to go show Carol.
Yeah, definitely.
Like an hour ago, I told her.
Okay.